On this week's episode of Spike on the Mic, we get a taste at Weeds Tavern of hard-hitting questions with AV, technology, and everything in between. Let's go. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Spike on the Mic. Today we have the one and only Mike Anderson, CEO and founder of Digital Systems and Integration. And we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna do a little bit of a version of Hot Ones where we start with easier drinks for easier questions. We're making our way all the way down to the more difficult drinks and difficult questions. So it's gonna be a little bit interesting when we get down there, but you ready to rock, man?
Fun
you ready
stuff.
to do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it, man.
Awesome, cool.
All right, Mike, let's start us off here. For the first one, we'll start nice and easy.
Nice.
With just a nice water shot. So first of all, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And for our first drink, tell me about the business. How'd you start it? How long has it been going for?
Okay.
And give me the inside juice of what Digital Systems and Integration is.
Okay. Digital integration, excuse me.
He's already slurring over here. Cut him off, cut him off.
Digital Systems and Integration, we've been around for about 10 years now. We're a integrator, which is pretty much is like a very, like the AV guy in our industry, high-end residential lighting, audio, video, networking, surveillance, security, everything that kind of automate these homes. We have some great clients. We just do some really cool stuff. We see some awesome homes in Chicagoland, intercoastal, and within the states and out of the country. Very happy, kind of fell into it, so it's great so far.
So when you say you fell into it, talk to me, what does that mean?
You know, my background out of college, engineering, electronic engineering, started off in printing press, manufacturing, working on electronics there, then kind of fell into a integrator that did similar stuff to now. We started doing television installs, and that kind of drew my attention to these beautiful homes we were in and businesses, large estates, large mansions. So it was great. And then decided about 10 years ago to kind of go off on my own, and here I am.
So what was that moment that you're like, all right, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to take the leap and to go off on my own. Like, walk me through that. Yeah,
it's funny because, you know, as I look back, you know, I always remember a couple people saying, you should do this on your own. And I was like, no, thank you. And I think I was just at a turning point in my life. And I said, maybe now's a good time to go on my own. I had that experience as, you know, from my previous positions, seeing how retail, private, small, large companies operated, and I said, you know, I think I can do this on my own, and decided to take that big leap, and here I am 10 years later, still successful.
Yeah. With that, that's one of my favorite questions to ask is, when was that aha moment of, you know what, I made it, like I'm doing this thing? Because obviously taking that initial jump is scary in itself.
Yeah.
But then what was that kind of moment of like gratitude, or like, all right, we're making this thing happen, man. We're cooking.
Yes. I would say that would have to been pretty recently. I would say 2-3 years ago. And that change for me was starting from, in the beginning, one employee, just me and one guy running the business, to now up to 10. It was just a turning point for me to say, all right, now I have this established. You know, I could take a lot off my plate where I can run the business. And now I have employees to kind of, you know, keep an eye on and watch. So that was realizing, looking back at the from when I went to a small office to such a larger office, having all the employees has been the looking back point and say, wow, this is really working. So
sure. Yeah. Well, it's been cool, right? So I've gotten the chance to know you over the last 4 years or so outside of the work realm, right?
Yeah.
And we'll dive into a little bit of that later here, but from just even that time, seeing where your business has gone from there to where it is now, I mean, I think you're up to 10 employees now, 11, how many employees are you up to here?
We're about nine
okay.
Actually, almost 10, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, soon to be 10.
And then just from some of the events that we've thrown through, like Level Up Social Club and getting the chance to meet some of your staff, it's cool because I can definitely see like a leadership aspect within you, and just hearing from like some of your employees that I've had the chance to meet. I mean, it's it's been fun to see from like the personal side that I've known you on, now going into the professional here. So it's really cool to see like that kind of change and adjustment.
Yeah, it's a learning curve because you know, you don't have that. It's not something that really it's hard to learn, or I don't know who would teach that, but you kind of learn yourself and how to run a business because. I had the experience of what I know in the business and how things worked, electronics and audio video and networking and surveillance and the equipment and the programming of everything. But to run a business, the financials, the managing of systems, the processes, working with others, hiring, just taking stuff off your plate, just learning that business management was just a big learning curve. Still learning, but I think getting over that hump helped me a lot. But yeah, it's something you kind of you pick up.
Yep.
You learn the hard way.
Well, that's a great segue into the next drink here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a little bit more crazy and go for the Tropicana
Good
here.
old vitamin C.
So cheers to
All
that
right,
one
cheers,
here. Yep.
Cheers.
Yep. So what do you think is the most difficult part about being a business owner?
I would say for me, the most difficult is employees in a good way, where just kind of managing the employees. Because you're taking things off your plate, so you don't want to sit there and micromanage. For me, I like to run my business. I give my employees a lot of leeway as far as treat it like a your business. I don't like to be over them all the time. Yeah, I still kind of have my input, and I still want to give that. I'm starting to learn to disconnect myself more and more as much as I try to be. But yeah, for me, it's just managing employees, everybody that has their good days and bad days. You go through employees, some good, some bad. You just try to find some good people in the company that work together, because that's a team, and I kind of try to push that. I've never been a huge sports guy as far as, playing sports growing up, but, you just learn about team camaraderie. Like, everybody's a team. We all work together, we all help each other, we all succeed together, we all fail together. So learning that has been very exciting, but yeah, just kind of managing everybody, putting people in those right spots, kind of like a chess game almost, where you kind of need to just manage and place them in a good spot. And sometimes some people don't work out, you learn, it's a hard, sometimes firing people, hiring people, but it's probably the biggest challenge of the business.
In the roundabout way, it kind of seems like you're also talking a little bit about this company culture too, right? Where it's interesting because a lot of times these big corporations, they preach, we have the best company culture, and sometimes it can be a little bit of a facade, but from having 9 employees and having a little bit more of a chance to kind of keep a hold on what like that culture looks like, how do you go about trying to make sure like that the culture is what you see the vision of the company, and making sure that everyone is aligned like that? Yeah,
no, it's important because, and I think it's a little easier obviously being in a smaller company where you can have that culture. We all work hard, we all have stressful days, but to take time out throughout the year, go on a trip. We were in Vegas doing a little training, but it was just a nice teamwork, rebuilding and just working together. That, just having that mentality of just a good culture, like you said, of like, celebrating birthdays, just going out for lunch, going out for drinks maybe after work. So having that, obviously some work weeks and months or days get busier than others, but you need to set a time for the company, for everybody to kind of get together, have a little powwow, talk about what's on their mind, but yeah, get out a little bit. So we try to do that, and hopefully it helps the culture, and I think it does. You see more camaraderie, people working together, where maybe some people didn't work together before, they didn't really know each other on a personal level, and now having that helps a lot. So,
and a lot of times with you dealing with this, just like the high-end type of technology and integration, all that kind of piece, right? Is there more of a time of year that you're busier? Because as you were alluding to right there, right, where sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to celebrate some like the small things. So what does that look like from your day to day?
It's our years, there's not really a busy, slower time of the year. Maybe I would say spring, summer, just because for the smaller projects, people will reach out and say, hey, now's time to start that renovation or that upgrade. So I would say that is technically, but some of our projects will last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, from especially new construction, from building a from the ground up, there's just a lot of processes because we're involved in everything from even from the security to the HVAC to lighting. So there's just a lot of trades and a lot of systems we need to kind of coordinate. And some of these projects last for several years just because they're large projects, they're large homes, they're large businesses, they're large commercial projects, and they take time and more detail to get done. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
You ready for our next juicy
I
step
am
up
right.
here?
This is the best part.
All right.
Here we go.
All right, so now we'll get into a little bit more of the difficult questions per se.
Thank
We'll go
you.
into our alcohol round of neutral, if you want to call it difficult. But cheers.
Cheers.
So the next question. Have you ever had a problem client that you didn't know how to deal with, / what did you do to handle the situation?
All the time. No. No, you have some good and bad clients, like I'm sure everybody else has to deal with. We're all human. People make mistakes, and especially what we deal with technology. There's this 24/7 systems working in this home. As far as networking and electronics, always constantly, being active throughout the house. So, yeah, I try to treat any project equally, and I let the client know honestly, hey, listen, there is going to be some hiccups probably, and we're going to do our best to sort them out in the beginning. But yeah, there's been a few times where I'll get a call or a nasty email, hey, very upset, very unhappy of this and that, and I make sure, boom, priority. I really emphasize on service for our business. We want to make sure service is number one. I will stop any new install before a service call or anything that needs to be addressed for an existing client. So yeah, just talking to the client and smoothing over either a phone call. I sometimes just going straight to the residence or business and seeing what the problem, meeting with that client, apologizing, making it right. And 9 times out of 10, the client's very happy after that. You're not, there's no argument. We're honest about, what needs to be done, what was missed, what mistake was done. Client's cool about it, and we move on, and just customer service, because for us, it's all referrals in our business. Keeping people happy is key for us, and we're trying to keep that going for us.
Well, I'll flip it up to the other side here.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a favorite project or anything that's been like the most memorable in terms of just one that sticks out in your mind? Like, man, that was fun, or that was like a interesting, fun setup that we created there.
No, there's so many, man. We do some really high-end luxury projects, and it's great to see from the beginning, just from the studs to a final project. We've done projects in Canada, Costa Rica, New York, Martha's Vineyard. So all around. Obviously here in Chicago, penthouses. So I can't say I have a specific one because we just have a lot of great projects.
How far out in advance, let's just say tomorrow I'm getting ready, well I shouldn't say tomorrow, in the future I'm getting ready and I want a project done by you and your team.
Yeah.
When should I reach out to you? How far in advance? What kind of details do someone like that myself that would be completely ignorant to it all, what kind of details do I need to know?
Yeah, good question, because we usually get those last minute calls.
Sure.
Like, hey, we forgot about you guys. It's always the electrician's important, the plumber, everybody else, the natural stuff. But no, we get in projects pretty early from the design phase. So we work with the architect and the designers, sit down, what's on paper, and kind of map out what we're looking for. Either that might be lighting, things are very popular now with tunable circadian lighting, so you can kind of set lighting moods at day, at night. So planning that with the designer, because they're kind of the middle person liaison with the client. And then working with the architect, getting that on paper, working with their design. So, as soon as usually they are working with the drawings, with the architect, we like to be involved.
Yeah, I understand how that goes, right? Because at this point in the world, I feel like everyone waits to the last minute to do everything. And I give you kudos for you and your team with what you have to do.
Yep.
I've also personally seen some of the work you've done with Braden, one of our close friends here. So I know you had a team that came in real quick, set it all up, and I mean, it was seamless. So and I got to give you props
Thank
for
you.
props for doing
Appreciate
it.
it. Yeah, we do our best.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna get a little bit into more of the personal side, a little bit more difficult questions.
Yes.
So we're gonna dabble into the tequila here.
Tequila.
This could be interesting here. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Actually, wasn't too bad, and I'm not much of a tequila
yummy.
person.
Yeah.
All right, so I can't
more.
imagine it's every young boy's dream going off to say I want to work in
Yeah. As an integrator, yeah.
as an integrator. What was your dream job as a kid? What did you want to do when you were seven years old?
Yeah, no, I think for me, the biggest, I've always attracted to Air Force pilots, just excited me. I know my stomach can't handle stuff like that because I've been on a few roller coasters / thing where I'm like, maybe that's a bad idea. But as a kid, I'm like, man, I'd love to go to the Air Force or something. And then as you get older, you get, reality hits a little bit, and you're like, nah, probably not a good fit for me. But I've always been in technology and computers. So, it's funny how I always see myself as a kid, like always when that first computer came out, I was always really interested in stuff like that. So I knew I was leaning towards that growing up. But my Air Force pilot days dreams are over right now. So I can just
depending
watch
on how the next couple months go, we might need you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we'll have to make sure we edit that in
Yeah,
post. That way he's not one of the first ones that's kept here. But let's start calling you Mike Maverick Anderson here.
There you go. Talk to me, Goose.
All right, we're gonna kick this one over to the content corner. So before we go into our last shot here, I told the boys behind the camera that ask us a couple questions that we might not be off, or we'll be off guard for. So I'm gonna kick it over to King Kuda here. We have no idea what's coming next. I apologize in advance for whatever about to happen here. So what do you got for us?
If you gave your business to someone for one day, what's one rule they have to follow?
Don't go bankrupt.
Make sure
it's still there when I get back. Oh, it's funny because that's actually a big thing for small business owners is building up your business so you can walk away. You can have that vacation, especially as a small business owner. You can go on that vacation, you can walk away from it and come back, and it's still functioning as well as it did before. So building up those processes, and that's what I'm kind of working on the last couple of years, is having that business. But making sure it's still there when you get back.
I think the best business advice I've ever gotten, a guy named Stell, shout out Stell if you're watching this, he said the first thing you should think of while you're starting your business is how to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that even mean? He's like, you should look at the end game and walk yourself back into it. So how do you scale through it, making sure you can scale into it, and then like you said, walking away to where if I take that vacation or if I'm off in Hawaii or anything like that, your business is still running smoothly. So I love that. And at first, when I first started in business, it's like, what the hell does that even mean?
Sure.
But it's such a great quote, and I love that.
It's something you don't realize until you really get into it. I'm big about investing in a business as far as like hiring consultants and talking to others, and that's just a big topic where, think about the end game, where you want, building the business, not being in the business. We all have multiple hats to wear, but you want it to grow successfully. Trust your employees. We all wear different hats again, but making sure everybody's in the right place. But it's important.
If you could install one AV feature in your own home just because you can, what would that be?
Ooh.
I am digging, especially now, and I see a big future in it. If you guys aren't doing AI, you guys are fools. Well, we call it Josh AI, and it's similar to Siri, and you communicate with your home. You communicate. You walk in, hey Josh, I'm home, and it'll do what you want. Turn on those lights, play Led Zeppelin, turn on a TV. Even stuff for like face recognition, which is kind of a little bit of a gray area now with like copy or security risks but it's getting better, where you walk up to your front door, it'll know it's you or a family member. Door will open, the lock.
Okay.
If it's you, it'll detect it's you. If it's not, it's, cleaning lady, Amazon, and it'll give you alerts. Hey, and then maybe your wife wants certain lights turned on at night. Communicating with your home, making it smart, talking to it, you know.
I'm gonna age myself here a
Yeah.
little bit, but it kind of reminds me of the movie Smart House from Disney Channel. I don't know if you, I don't know if you remember that.
I don't think I've seen no.
Yeah, I mean this was way back in the
Okay.
day here, but yeah,
Yeah.
90s kids, you know, you wouldn't
And they
understand.
they were talking to their house kind of thing, or?
I mean, it's a similar type of thing where like you can talk to it and basically be like, hey, like
Yeah.
shut this screen or like do this kind
Yeah.
of thing, and like
I mean, it's funny the stuff like
got a little dark at one point. But
no, yeah, when I started in this industry 15, 20 years ago, you know, I've seen stuff that, you know, just like smart thermostats, especially. Like now it's such a mainstream, you know, when Google came out with the Nest and everything, they were always out, but they were so expensive. It was just for the upper class, you know, we were spending $1,000, $2,000 on a thermostat just to be able to control from your phone. So you just kind of see this stuff before. But now when the larger companies, Google, Facebook, whatever else out there, are releasing to the consumer products, it's amazing what you see.
before we dive into the last drink here of Malort, which I've been side-eyeing this entire time, I want to give a big thank you to Johnny at Weeds Tavern for letting us do this today. This has been great, getting the chance to know Mike on a little bit more of a personal and professional level. So we'll drop the link to his location here below. Check out Weeds Tavern, great spot. It's been nice kind of being in here a little bit more sober than what I normally am, but check it out. It's an awesome spot. This has been awesome, man.
Yeah,
this has been really fun. For our last one here,
Awesome.
we're gonna do Malort, so if you could pass that down here.
Absolutely.
So it may not be a full
Exciting.
glass, but this will probably still give me heartburn for a week.
It'll do enough.
So we'll do the quick cheers here
There we go.
for the last question.
Okay.
Now that I've known you for a little while,
Yes.
and we've got society benefits up and running, you ready to sign up today?
I don't sign anything without my lawyer here now.
We'll cut that. We're gonna edit that in post and say yes, he's starting here. So, cheers, man.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Oh,
You sound like the sales guys that call me every week. Are you ready? I'm like, no, I am not ready.
check, please. Thank you for tuning in here. I'm gonna go throw up in the bathroom now.
wasn't that bad.
No, it actually wasn't that bad. But no, this is awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
it, man. Thank you. This is great. Thank you, guys.